Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down Welcome to Derry. The It prequel has just had its weeks ahead trailer dropped, and throughout this video we're going to be breaking it all down. The teaser contains lots of hints to what's coming, and it gives some big things away if you know the book. I've just reread it in time for the series, and I want to go through this teaser and discuss lots of little hints that we get to that point towards this. We will of course be doing breakdowns on the show every week as well, so make sure you subscribe for our coverage. Anyway, where we begin is at the Capitol Cinema. I love the way they start the trailer off blurry, so the first frame makes the red light look like a balloon. This red is shared in the HBO logo to tie into the colour most closely associated with Pennywise, cause it's blood. Replaying the ending of episode 1, we see things from Lily's point of view. Cutting to her waking up with her hand stretched out, I believe she's replaying the scene in her mind as a nightmare, and still clearly stuck in the trauma. The worst thing is that she has to keep it to herself because nobody's gonna believe her, which she does say, to be fair.
No one's gonna believe me.
Yeah, I said that. Next we cut to Juniper Hill, which I'm guessing's where the character gets sent to. In case you don't know, this is an insane asylum in which they beat and abuse their patients. When Henry Bowers was younger, he killed his father and then went to the sewers to attack the Losers Club. Being the school bully and doing stuff like cutting his name into Ben's stomach didn't really make him seem like he was that nice of a person. Oh yeah, and he killed his dad as well. So all the murders, all the kids disappearing, that was all pinned on him, and he was sent to the asylum to take the fall. I do wonder if Lily's gonna suffer the same fate and get sent there after the Capitol massacre. We then see the sewers in the background of the logo before cutting to the gymnasium at Derry High School. Now it seems like we're getting another proto-losers club as we can see several kids gathered on the bleachers. Is it bleachers? I don't know, I'm British, we just call them seats. Does look like Lily is among them though, so perhaps she gets sentenced later in the season. We also have Ronnie from the cinema as well as 2 new kids. The first of these talks about the history of Derry, and I believe this is Leroy's son Will. Will is the father of Mike, and Mike was fascinated with the history of Derry. In the book, a lot of the interludes involve him investigating the town and trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. Mike is also the only one who remained behind to keep an eye on Pennywise, and he promised to bring them back together if it ever came back. We then see the kids going into the sewers, which great idea that, mate. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it plays off for him. Reminds me a lot of the death of Patrick Hockstetter though, who was killed after going down a pipe in It Chapter 1. Just in the same way Georgie's death and Maddie's death brought the group together to investigate the murders, the kids' death at the cinema is probably doing the same thing. They talk about it and figuring out what it is, and it's reminiscent of the scene in the book of movies where all the kids talk about how it came to them in different forms. However, they realise it's all the same creature and it's at the heart of the city. The journey into the sewers has of course been shared in lots of the adventures, and it's a classic motif in the story. In between this, we see Marge with a bandage over her eyes. I do think she's going to be a sort of Barbara from Stranger Things, in that she's a nerdy girl who wants to be popular and then gets attacked by the creature. Looks like Marge makes it out though, at least at this point, and it might make her question her goals to try and fit in with the shallow girls. We then cut to Lily and see a neighbour creepily looking at her. It's similar to the library scene in It Chapter 1 where the librarian stood behind Ben staring very menacingly, and they made a great thumbnail, 9 million views there. This also plays massively into Lily's fears. The girls stared at her at school, and her biggest fear is being stared at and judged. We also have the police sitting in a car in what looks like Ronnie's neighbourhood. This was shown towards the episode 1, and she talked about how the police tried to pin Maddie's death on her dad, which is something they're now doing with the Capitol massacre.
Are they really gonna try and pin this on you?
Okay, so I just want to quickly tell you about Whatnot, which is an absolutely amazing platform for collectors like me and you. I'm sure you've seen the Funkos, action figures, and die-cast cars behind me in the past, and I was absolutely blown away when I first heard about this. In case you don't know, Whatnot's a live stream shopping app where you can buy, sell, and auction literally anything. Personally, I'm following the Funko Pops, Pokemon cards, action figures, men's clothing, die-cast cars, because I've really got into them because of our Bond videos, and basically anything that pops up, like, I could do with more of those. I think over the last decade or so, stuff has shifted to online marketing, and I've kind of started missing the feeling I got when I'd go into my local comic shop and got to know the people that work there. Whatnot brings that feeling back, and it's a live community-driven marketplace where people buy, sell, and discover unique products in real time. I'm a bit of an early bird, and I saw this auction of Pokemon cards going off really early, so I made sure I got involved. I picked up this Rivals booster pack, and it was super easy to bid and pay. They also have Lego, electronics and video games, and categories for, well, everything. Because of this, you can get some really great deals and also make friends with other sellers and shoppers like you. You can also see when the auctions are scheduled to go live, so you know what time to tune in. Buying is super easy as well, and you can shop your favorite stores from the comfort of your own home. Just click my link in the description or scan my QR code and you'll get $15 free to spend if you're in the US and £10 in the UK. Absolutely free. Just use my code in the description or scan my QR code to get $15 or £10 off. Thanks. Now for this, we cut to a Native American character. This likely ties in with the group Mike talked about in It Chapter 2, and we know that they perform the ritual of Chud. In the book, the natives centuries ago managed to banish the creature for 100 years, which kept the town safe for 4 cycles. We see him going into a house, which I'm guessing is 29 Nearbolt Street. This is the well house that leads into the sewers, and it's where Pennywise operates out of. The book even says that if any house in Derry is haunted, then this is the one that is. Butchered that, but yeah, he passes by an army soldier, which I'm guessing comes from the Air Force base. He then goes into the sewers, and I love how the red light behind him again creates that balloon effect. We then see him in what may also be Juniper Hill before saying it went into his mind. He gets a vision of an ancestor before the lady there says they keep this thing in its cage. We then see a glowing artifact held by the kids, which I'm guessing will be used to perform the ritual. And yeah, as we know, it fails. Spoiler alert. Ronnie also looks really disheveled here, and I'm guessing that they had a pretty bad run-in to get this. We had a theory that Ronnie might be Veronica Grogan, who in the book was said to be a friend of Bev's. The kids stuff there, you know, that took place in the 50s in the source material, and she also knew Matty Clements. Both Matty and Veronica could be parts of the show, and they are voices that Bev heard coming from the sewers. So it doesn't really look good if Ronnie is indeed the character. We then see a silhouette of Pennywise before cutting to Leroy meeting with Shaw. He then says they're looking for something that was buried in Derry a long time ago, and it seems like this is the secret project. Up in a command room, we see a picture that says Dig Site 1, and then cut to something being unearthed. In our episode 1 breakdown, we talked about how we think they might be investigating the crash site that was created when Pennywise landed on the planet. Mike saw this in a vision after visiting the Native Americans, so this dig site is really important, and it also explains why they've got your man Dick Halloran there. In case you don't know, Halloran is a major player in The Shining, and he's the one who tells Danny about his powers. He's also psychic as well, and might be helping them find objects emitting Pennywise's energy. Obviously, you'd have to dig a lot randomly if you didn't know have a guy like this involved, and you'd have to know the creature existed in the first place. So I think that's what Dick's role's going to be, and as we know, we all love Dick. At one point, we then see him touching an object which gives him a vision of a nurse being killed. These are a box of cigars, which then triggers his insight. I love how the vision's black and white except for the balloon, and the screaming nurse ties in excellently with Lily. In what's a classic Losers Club motif, we catch her in the street riding a bike, also screaming. Intercut with this are also moments of Leroy flying the chopper. Episode 1 explained he was a standout pilot and fought in Mig Alley against the odds. So this is why he's been brought in. Halloran also explains the shine, and we get a vision of him down in the sewers. He witnesses the kids' bodies floating, and this is where the Losers Club for Pennywise at originally. We also see 2 ash-covered hands touching. Now the way this is framed, I did think that this might be Halloran at first. However, upon pausing it, it does look like a woman's hand. To me at least. They're also holding a man's hand under the blanket, which makes me think that this guy's dead. I feel like due to the ash that this might be in the aftermath of the Kitchener Ironworks, which was a massive explosion that rocked Derry. The book explains that during an Easter egg hunt, the place exploded and it killed lots of adults and kids. It was one of the town's saddest moments, and it sent Derry into a state of grief. So perhaps Dick is getting a vision of that, or we might even see it for ourselves, because there's lots of things burning in this teaser. It also looks like Marge isn't out of the woods yet, as we see her inside a locked container. I did wonder if this was a car boot, but it might be inside a furnace, as we see lots of orange lighting. And yeah, there's that towards the end of the trailer quite heavily. Might also be a coffin as well, but I do know this is at least the second attack on her, as she has her eye bandaged up here. We then cut to the Proto Losers Club running under some bodies floating in the air, so I'm guessing this is down in the sewers. Might be where they get the artifact from, but it's such a cool shot, and we then cut to a woman in a wedding dress writhing out of bed. Reminds me a lot of Mrs. Kirsch in Chapter 2, and you can see to the left there is a character against the wall, clearly hiding in fear. Well, not really hiding, but you know what I mean, she's scared as shit. Now why I'm saying she is because there's a poster on the wall that looks like the movie Raisin in the Sun. This is a film from 1961 and it's about a black family living in Chicago, so I do think it's probably going to reflect Ronnie and her dad. If that's the case, then I do wonder if this figure is Ronnie's mother and his wife, and Pennywise is using her to terrorize the pair. We then see a similar shot with a kid in a burning room while Pennywise walks gleefully towards them. Children can also be seen running in the background, so again I do feel like this might be the kitchen at Ironworks. We also get a vision of a woman saying,
"No one who dies here ever really dies."
I don't know if this is Pennywise or not, but it's someone who has insight into the town. Match with this is a kid floating in the water with a gunshot wound to the head. We can't really show it, but it's playing off the idea of how they all float. The movie changed it up, so it was the kids floating through the air, but it was different in the book, mate, I'll tell you that. You see in that, when the police and authorities discovered the kids' bodies in the sewers, they were in the water, floating about. So it played into the idea of Pennywise saying they all float. The kid then comes alive with the Pennywise smile and then disappears into the water. Leroy's shocked by this and he darts back and we can see a red light on his uniform. This created the effect behind the Native American character before and was a really nice touch. So he's likely going down with that character. Could have worded that better, but we then see Lily in the store smashing a jar of pickles off the floor. Obviously her dad was killed in one of the pickle machines at the pickle factory and it put him in a bit of a pickle. Pennywise is clearly using this to taunt her though, and yeah, I'm guessing that she's gonna get scared or attacked at the supermarket. The trailer then ramps up with some action shots of Dick desperately swimming to the surface. I think that this is a vision with him trying to escape Pennywise's grasp. We also get a head coming up some stairs, almost floating towards what I believe is Lily. Next we see what looks like a great thick mist floating over the town. I did wonder if this was a nod to The Mist, which is a book by Stephen King and also a movie, breakdown on the channel now, and I feel like this is probably coming from the army base. It also reminds me of the end of the book when the Losers Club defeated Pennywise. Now there, most of Derry was flooded due to Pennywise being such a crucial part of the town. He was the one basically holding a lot of the city together due to him basically allowing them to build it so he had a place to feed. So I do wonder if this is a reaction to the ritual being performed. I remember reading that Machete wanted to end chapter 2 with the flood hitting the city, but they didn't have the budget to do it. So they're possibly doing something similar here. We then end the teaser with Pennywise surrounded by the bodies and fire, and again possibly teasing the ironworks. Lastly, we have him standing with a cleaver just about to make a kill. And yet, whoever that is, not going to be a good day for them, but that sums up the teaser and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Halloween is also almost here as well, and you might have noticed my Halloween themed t-shirts up behind me. Marvel Zombies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Weapons, Pennywise, we've got loads of stuff at the merch store below, and the more you get, the more of a discount you get, so you buy more, you get more money off. Huge thank you to everyone who's picked one up as well, and if you want to follow us on Instagram and keep up to date with what we're doing, then follow us at Heavy Spoilers. Did you know as well that members of the channel also get early access to videos, and if you want a big breakdown every single week, a week before anyone else, all you have to do is click the join button and pay just 99 cents a month. Makes a massive difference to the channel, it really does. I really appreciate all you guys who've got on board with that. I know some of you are like, this is the first ever membership I've signed up to, and it's worth it, they also said. So yeah, thank you so much to you guys, especially because yeah, just makes these videos so much, it takes the pressure off being like I've got to pay for all my stuff and editors this week, but I've got people like you who are very generous towards us. Now if you want something else to watch, we've got a breakdown of episode 1 on screen right now. If you haven't seen that, what the hell's wrong with you? It's a great video. Go check it out, mate, and because I'll be watching you and I'll know if you haven't watched it, and I don't want you, but I don't want to bump into you in the street and be like, oh, you alright, mate? And you're like, oh yeah, I love that video. And I go, what did I say at minute 45? And you're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, exactly, you didn't bloody watch it. But yeah, that's it. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.